with reading, there are certain rules to follow. Okay? You come here ready to learn and ready to listen, ready to interact. Okay? Today we're going to have a book. I'm going to give you a copy of your book and I'm going to give you some stuff for you to use. Okay? Our book is The San Francisco Earthquake by Rob Arrigo. And this one. And your purpose for reading, text organization, and you have to find, this time is the causes and the effects, okay, because that's the text organization for this book, the causes and effects of the earthquake. Okay? So this is an informational textbook, an informational text, and we are going to take a look at the story that happened. This is a real thing. This is an informational story. Okay, when you say informational, that's nonfiction, that's factual. It really happened, okay? And it happened during 1906 in San Francisco, California. So we're gonna read about this phenomena, which is the earthquake. Okay? Now, from our readings, the previous earthquake terror, do you still remember that story?
Yes.
Okay, from our previous story, what have you gathered about earthquakes? Yes, Michelle?
That they can be big or small.
They could be big earthquakes or small earthquakes. What do you mean by that? Big or small earthquakes?
Like, or they can be small, or they can be fast or slow.
They could be fast earthquakes, slow earthquakes. What do we mean by, oh, you must be focusing on the word undulating waves. Okay, do you remember that word? Undulating waves.
Yes.
Okay, undulating waves. When an earthquake hits, okay, or strikes, there's movement from the crust of the earth. The crust is moving. It's like the earth is bouncing, like undulating waves of motion.
And it's shaking.
One at a time.
It's like in the wave when they have earthquakes, and they be waving.
Yeah.
And everything just starts shaking.
Everything starts shaking.
And you gotta go to a safe place, because if you don't, you can get smashed.
Now, looking into that, in our story, Earthquake Terror, our first story before, okay, how did Jonathan and Abby, okay, how did they find out that it was an earthquake there?
Because they felt the ground shaking.
They felt the ground shaking.
And the dog. And no, the dog kept barking, the ground was shaking. Plus, Jonathan learned about earthquake terror, so they had to get about earthquakes. So him and Abby and the dog, they got under a law. He said if it like you supposed to get under a table and protect yourself, but it wasn't no table around, so they got under like a big old log.
So, since this is a text, a nonfiction text, nonfiction again is real text. Okay, listen carefully. Since this is a nonfiction text, you're gonna see text features. Text features help us actually understand the text. Text features like the glossary. Okay, it contains the vocabulary words. These are the same words that we have in the earthquake terror. Okay, and you will see photographs. Okay, you have Enrico Caruso. The story actually begins with Enrico Caruso feeling those undulating waves and the movements. Okay, we also have photographs of buildings. First, they're still there, and if you take a picture walk, what do you notice on with the buildings?
Some buildings
One at a time. One at a time. Go to
Some
Luca.
buildings are falling.
Some buildings were falling. Yes, Henry.
Buildings
Collapse.
collapse.
Okay. So some buildings collapse. Yes, Michelle.
Some of them like smashed. Like
Some of them were.
smashed.
Yes, they were like smashed. Okay. Yes, Jose. What can you say?
Some are on fire.
Some of them are like there's fire, there's smoke. Okay. Now, at the very end, okay, turn to this colored photograph. This is the only different photograph. The rest are black and white. And then suddenly, there's a colored photograph. What do you think, and why do you think this is colored? Yes, go to Luca.
Because this period. The other pictures were back then.
Okay, what Lucas said, this is the real thing now. Back then, these are what happened. Okay? Now, I would like you to go to page 13. Okay, this is another example of a text feature. We have a map. Okay, and we have a caption. Caption again tells something about the map. Okay, so it says here, two huge pieces of the Earth's crust slide past each other. Okay, so if this is the Earth's crust, they're like sliding past each other. So if that is what's happening, okay, they slide. If you have buildings there, what happens to the building?
They'll fall.
They're gonna fall. They'll be mashed, and they'll be smashed, and they will fall, and they will be destroyed. And the people might get killed too. Okay. Now, not all faults are sliding, but on this photograph, this is actually San Andreas Fault. This is what's in California, and this is what's causing the earthquake there. Okay. So, as we read the book. Okay, listen carefully. This is your purpose. As you read the book, I would like you to use those text features that I just showed you. The glossary, the photographs, the maps. Use them to understand the text, and at the same time, think of the causes and effects. Later on, I will ask you what you found out. Okay? I'll ask you what you learned. What were the causes of the earthquake, and what were the effects of the earthquake in San Francisco during that time? Okay? Now, as you read, I'm going to work with one or two of your classmates. Don't be confused if they're reading aloud to me. Just keep on with your reading. Okay? I would like you to whisper read. If I tap you, that means you're going to read aloud to me, and I would need to observe you. Okay? When we're all done, I would like you to review, reread, okay, and go back to the details that you're going to share with me later. Okay? And I would need for you to think about the information that you're going to tell me. Okay? If I'm still working with some of your classmates, just continue looking at the pictures, okay? Rereading and clarifying. Okay. What's the purpose of our reading? What are you going to find out? Causes and effects. And which ones are going to help you understand the text?
The
The pictures, photographs, the maps, okay? They are called text features. What are they called again? Text features. So use them to help you understand the text. Okay? Ready? Okay, whisper read. I'm going to work with you first.
Enrico.
Okay, go ahead.
It was early on April morning, and the shaking he thought he was dreaming, but the shaking didn't stop. Rosa jumped up and went to his window. What he saw made him shake too. San Francisco had been struck by one of the strongest earthquakes that ever hit North America.
Okay.
The ground
Shuddered.
The ground shuddered and shook for less than a minute, but for Cruz and thousands of others, the earthquake seemed to last for hours. Its force or impact was
Say this again.
undulating.
Okay, undulating. Okay. At first you said undaunting. They really look the same. Okay, visually they look similar, but when you're facing a complicated or a multisyllabic word like this, all you have to do is to chunk it. Okay. I can see that you were able to do the prefix and you got the suffix. Okay, so you have to be very careful what's in the middle of the word. I do notice that the punctuations, okay, sometimes you would not pay attention to it, so I would want you to pay more attention. If there is a period, what do we need to do? You have to stop or pause longer than when you have a comma, okay? I do love your intonation, okay? Because when you read, like when you read this, what he saw made him shake too. Okay, so I picked up that intonation that you are really paying attention to how the sentence should sound like. Okay, so keep up with that too. Now.
Line your vowels.
What are the effects of the earthquake? Okay, Guadalupe.
Buildings falling and people dying.
Buildings falling, people are dying. Okay, what else? Yes, Jose.
That some houses turn on fire.
Okay, turn fire. Actually, the fire in here was actually caused when buildings collapsed and then electricity got gas pipes would explode. Oh, it's just the dust. Actually, you see, it's not really the
You
smoke.
said the gas pipes busted and then that will cause fire.
Okay, Henry, what did you gather? What have you gathered?
I noticed that an earthquake, like if it's a big earthquake, the big earthquake will do a lot of damage.
Damage. I love that word.
And if it's the smaller earthquake, it won't do that much damage as the big one.
Now, what can you tell about the earthquake here? Was it a big earthquake?
It was a big earthquake.
How could you tell?
Cause I could tell, cause it was dusty, bricks all over the floor, all messy. The towers and stuff were falling down.
Okay, so I could
And
tell.
collapsing.
Thank you. I could tell that Henrik went back to the photographs. Okay, Henrik made use of the photographs. Did you use your photographs to help you
Yes.
understand? Was it very helpful to you to look at the photographs?
Yes,
Okay.
and cause I read all about the book.
Okay. Now this time we have 3 minutes left. Is it 3 minutes? Okay.
Yes,
What I want you to do is I want you to turn and talk. You will be my partner. Turn and talk to your partner, and I would like for you, listen, I'd like for you to tell each other, okay, the most important thing, okay, that you have learned from this book. Okay? Turn and talk and give each other the most important thing for you. Okay, ready?
The most important,
like a lot of damage.
What you think? My most important thing about this, that it caused a lot of damage and people died in the houses were crushed and buildings were breaking down and children was not able to go to school because the schools were destroyed.
what I learned from this book is that you're not supposed to be by, you're not supposed to be by, like, you're not supposed to be in buildings when the earthquake shakes, because it might like collapse on you.
Okay. I heard from their Michelle and Ayana that they're talking about when they collapse, what are you going to do? How are you going to be safe? I heard from you that earthquakes can cause damage. I heard from you the same thing too. Now, I would like for you to have our, what do we call this? Our stoplight. Stoplight what? Questions, thank you. Okay, stoplight questions give you different kinds of, different forms of questioning. So I'd like you to pick, okay? Pick one from each color and ask a very good question to your partner about the story. Okay, so for example, I'm going to use, I don't usually use green questions because they're just the basic who, what, when, where, why. We're past it, we're way past that, okay? So I would like to go to yellow questions, and it says here, compare how are blank and blank similar. So I would like to ask Guadalupe, how is this story, okay, similar with earthquake terror that we had before? Or I can ask her, how is this story, okay, different from earthquake terror that we had before? Okay, and let your partner answer your question. Got it? Okay.